Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another episode of Approachable Music. My name is Kiefer. I am your host, editor, director, producer of the show. The only person really running it at this point. Welcome. It's Wednesday. It's actually 7:30 p.m. I recorded an episode earlier today. I'm not sure if I'm going to release it because honestly, my energy was so low. I was like, that's unacceptable. So I took a nap and I'm back doing another episode. I've got a bunch of voicemails here, and also I've got a piano. I thought I'd start by playing a little bit. I've been doing this exercise that Jacob Mann taught me way back in episode 2, way back in the early days. Episode 2 of this podcast, which you can check out. Was episode 2? Maybe 3. And basically the exercise is where you play a tune, and when you're playing the melody, the last note of every phrase becomes the first note of the next phrase, which means you may have to change the key. And I've been playing it. Check it out. I'm going to play Misty. Or let's do like Embraceable You or something. Let's do Embraceable You. Check it out. Why not? That was silly. Yeah, so I've been practicing changing keys a lot. At the end, I was changing to random ones. But yeah, shout out Jacob Mann, who taught me that exercise where the last note of the melody becomes the first note of the next phrase, and you change the key to make it fit accordingly. What's up, everybody? How are we doing? Hit me in the comments. Say something. Say hello. Let me know what you're practicing. Ask me questions. I was just doing some practice of my own. I was actually back here. I got a little DJ setup. I got a second turntable and a mixer. And I was practicing DJing today. And you know what? I've said it a million times, and I'll say it again. You need to make friends with DJs. And I'm talking good DJs, especially vinyl DJs, especially people who make great selections. No one knows records better than DJs, especially when you consider the ones who own thousands in their collection and they've listened to everything. They are historians. They are librarians of the music. All that to say, I'm sitting here trying to DJ, and guess what? It's really damn hard. It's really, really difficult. If you think that shit is easy, think again. I was trying to beat match, and I wrote down a little set list. I found out all the tempos of all these beats that I really like. The mix that I'm working on is like Dilla, Madlib, Kareem Riggins, DJ Harrison, Mind Design, that sort of thing. You know, my favorite stuff. And I tried to get them all in order of tempo, and then I was trying to like beat match between them. And doing this with vinyl, it's hard, dude. And I could do it, and I thought I had it. And then I hit record on my phone. I recorded a voice memo just to listen to my own transitions after the fact. I could have actually, recorded it for real on my laptop, but I was too lazy. And, dude, I messed up, like, a good third of the transitions. I thought that I could do it, and it's hard. So, go figure. I mean, yeah, if you thought that shit was easy, you're tripping. It's a hard job. But really good for you. Dude, it was an inspiring afternoon. I listened to so much music. Just getting deeper into understanding tempos. I cannot overstate how helpful I think that is going to be to my musicianship to start DJing more and just start hosting parties and listening more and just having a good time and identifying tempos. And it's just great. And also just like listening to good vinyl mixes every day is just going to make my ears that much better. That said, let's hit some voicemails. I got a bunch of them here. I don't know what they're going to say. Let's just go for it. Let's see what happens. Here we go.
Hey, Kiefer. My name's Elijah from California, and I just want to say thank you for being an inspiration to the community and to me. My question is involved with tendonitis. When you brought it up in your last pod, it was very inspirational, and it brought a very human element to this music thing where a lot of people are seen as, like, way up there, but it brought a very human element to it where I related to someone I look up to, which I think is awesome. So I'd really love to for you to elaborate on how you overcame that and how you worked on your technique to overcome that, and just share your thoughts on it. So thank you so much, Kiefer. Appreciate you.
Hell yeah. Thanks, Elijah. Tendonitis, how I overcame tendonitis. I mean, I have not overcome tendonitis because it could happen tomorrow. It could happen the next day. When I was in school, Kenny Burrell taught me, if it hurts, don't do it. It's a very good piece of advice that I kind of ignored. Because when I got out of school, I hurt myself. This was when I was 24. And for those of you who don't know, I got tendonitis one morning. I woke up and I couldn't make a fist and bend it. Yeah, it was really scary. So I couldn't really play piano for a few months there. I took 3 or 4 months off probably. I'm not exactly sure how long. It was a while. It was more than a few months. Yeah, how I overcame it that particular time. I just stopped playing. It's really that simple. Number 2, the other way I helped work on that, I just stopped playing stuff that caused tension. And at that time, I was playing fast, I would tense up my hands. And I learned that until I learn proper technique and play faster, I'm just going to play slowly. I'm just going to play simple and slowly, and there's a lot to do here. There's a lot of... Also, I just noticed there was so many things to work on, like, that had nothing to do with speed. My phrasing was not good. My time feel was not good. My touch was not good. And it doesn't matter what your vocabulary is if none of those things are good. So I needed to develop those things with a new vocabulary where I could have nice touch, nice phrasing, nice time. Because if you don't have those things, if you don't have good touch, which translates to good tone, I mean, that just means you don't sound good. If you don't sound good, if you don't have good time, that also means you don't sound good. And if you don't have good phrasing, which means you're not making sense. You're not making sense, you're not grooving, and you don't sound good. What are we talking about? So, yeah, I realized when I came back to the piano a few months later that I was just going to work on just those things. Just like not cause tension in my hands. And I did a very good job at that for a long time. And then when I got a little bit older, I was like, okay, like I'm happy with where I'm at in these categories, but I do like fast music. I would like to play faster. Now that doesn't mean I'm still relatively not playing fast tempos, but yeah. So I started working up my speed just by doing Hanon and relaxing my hands. I got this exercise from I believe is his last name Crawford? Andre Crawford, the pianist. He goes his Andre Music 95 on Instagram. And I just asked him what I should work on and to work on my speed and like releasing tension in my hands. And he just said, hey, when you do your Hanon exercises, alternate from double speed and half speed. And every time you go half speed, just work on relaxing the hand as much as possible so that when you're playing, you're exerting the least force on your tendons and just like try to relax everything. You know, you want to have a stable wrist, but not a flexed wrist. And then when you relax it as far as you possibly can, then when you double the speed, try and keep it the same. And by having those short bursts of speed, so I'm going like don't go take it take it take it take it take it ding 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 take it take it take it. This is gonna be on. It's gonna be funny because I'm gonna do this on the MIDI controller, but it's sound like this, you know. Right, like that. And every time I go half speed, I'm practicing releasing as much tension as possible. And then when I go full speed, I'm still releasing tension. I'm just trying to keep it exactly the same. And by having those two phrases back to back and trying to make it so the tension remains the same, I can really... and just start thinking of it as, instead of playing faster, think of it like, if I could play at the same speed with less tension, then in a way I'm playing faster, right? We're just trying to max out the speed to tension ratio, you know? That's what real speed is. We should call that, we should come up with a new statistic on this show called true speed. It's like true shooting in basketball. True speed is a ratio of speed to tension. So you can still play at like 100 BPM, 16th notes, that isn't very fast. But if your tension is 0, then your true speed is very fast. So that's what we need to develop. We need to develop true speed. So that would be like this, you know. Also playing staccato, you know. Gonna run out of keys here. No tension. Oops. Right? And as I go faster, just keeping the tension the same, or lack of tension. See what happens if I go to 180. Also, I learned that when I do this exercise, I noticed a few months ago, my feet would curl up, my offhand might tense up, you know? And I realized, like, oh, shoot, I am, like, carrying tension all over my body. Like, it was an amazing experience when I started doing this, like realizing, oh, there is tension when I play fast. If my foot is tensing up, I can only imagine what my hand is doing, you know? Check it out. You know? So that's what I'm doing. And you know what? Both hands, obviously. Although I don't play them together at the same time. Interestingly enough. So yeah, that's what I've been doing to work on my tendonitis. And you know what? I am playing the best piano of my life because of that. And I'm going on stage with confidence. I like trust my hands going up, which was not the case a few years ago. So if you want to feel confident, practice your technique, dude. Practice your technique. Oh, I used to think that shit was boring. Opposite. It's not boring at all. It's fucking so fun. It's so fun because you don't have to think about it. It's not a brain twister. It's not like, it's the easiest thing to do. It's like, and it's fun. Just do it with no tension. That's all you got to do. All right. Next voicemail. Thank you so much, Elijah. I really appreciate the question.
Hi, Kiefer. My name is Selassie, and I'm calling from Salt Lake City, Utah. This question I want to ask.
I want to get this name again. What's the name?
Concerning collaboration.
Run it back.
Hi, Kiefer. My name is Selassie, and I'm calling from Salt Lake City, Utah.
I'm sorry.
The question I want to ask
Salt Lake City
was concerning collaborations with other musicians. To give some context, I currently play in a band with 3 other guys. It's a 4-piece. Obviously, all of us come from different musical backgrounds, have different tastes in music, and for the most part, when we come together and have jam sessions, they usually turn out to be really good.
Nice.
But sometimes when it comes to recording and producing tracks or writing songs together, as you can imagine, we may not necessarily butt heads, but maybe come to have different opinions or different views creatively when it comes to writing and recording. And moving forward, or as I'm growing, obviously I'm really learning to trust, the instincts of others, especially when I'm collaborating.
Yeah, you got to trust the people you work with.
And just really have fun and just the unknown when it comes to recording with collaborators. But Kiefer, I'm just curious if that's something that you've ever struggled with, or if you had any similar experiences when working with other musicians. I'm just curious to what your thoughts may be concerning the matter.
Yeah.
Hope that made sense. Hope you have a good one, man. Thanks.
Hell yeah. Thank you. Shout out Salt Lake City. I couldn't catch your name, but I'll call you Salt Lake. Yeah, Salt Lake. Dude, okay. So what I would say to this, when I work with people, if they have an idea, I let their idea win, usually. One of the reasons why I'm able to do that, at least what I think this is why, is because I have my own solo stuff. I've put out 8 albums, so that might be a unique situation. But if someone else wants something to go a certain way, first off, if I'm working with them in the first place, dude, you should work with people where you like their ideas, right? Like, if I'm working with somebody, let's say it's like Amber from Moonchild, or let's say it's Kenny Beats, or let's say it's cartoons, so that's number one. You got to work with people, and it doesn't have to be a successful person like whether it's like cartoons or, it doesn't have to be that, This is also true for, when I was coming up, and, or even, if I work with people who don't have a big name or whatever, it's like, I work with people who I like their ideas. And if you don't like their ideas, you should just write the music yourself. So if that's the case, you should write the music first and then present it to the band. Now, there might be people who don't want to do that. Well, then that means they don't value your ideas. Maybe this is a wild answer. I have no idea if this is true. But yeah, though, this is true. Sometimes I've been in situations where it's like, hey, we should write the music before we show up. That way there's no confusion about who did what, sometimes you got to come in there and be like, this is my song and this is how it is, because sometimes you don't want it to change. So you got to do your homework ahead of time. If you don't want them to edit your idea, then you got to write the song before you show up. And if you want to write songs with other people, then you got to write the songs with other people. So that means if they start having ideas and they want to do things, then you got to go along with that. And that means you need to do your homework ahead of time and pick people that you want to write with. If you want to write with people, write with people. If you don't want to write with people, don't write with people. You know, like if you don't want to have your song changed, then you write it ahead of time. And if you want to write with people, then you got to let them have their ideas. That's it. So, I think it's pretty simple. That's how I deal with that. If I have a tune and I got something else too. If people are changing your song, like let's say I did write a tune and I don't want it to be changed and I wrote it and I finished it and then I brought it into the rehearsal and then people are trying to change it. They're probably doing it because it's not their type of thing. And I know it's really difficult to say because it is a hard thing to find musicians that are able to do this, but if they don't like your song, they shouldn't be in your band, or they shouldn't be playing that song in your band. You should just bring in a different song because they're not going to play it well. So in that situation, you should let them change it because then they're going to play their idea really well. There's a book called Super Bosses about this. If you want your band to really crush it, they should all love their parts. And so you should let them kind of write their parts a little bit because then your band's they're going to be crushing it, dude. They're going to be having a great time. They're going to be playing their favorite stuff. They're going to be proud of this stuff because they have ownership of it. But I think the main answer is that it's like, if you don't want to write with people, then don't write with people. Write at home and then bring the song into rehearsal. And if you do want to write with people, then you got to let them write. You got to let them change the idea. You know, that's, you know, if Cartoons wants to change the idea, I let him do it. If he doesn't like it, he's like, this sucks. I'm like, cool, I'll do this song with someone else then. But even that doesn't happen because if he doesn't like something, usually then I do want to abandon it. Honestly, that's like feedback I really appreciate. Same thing with Amber. If she's not feeling it, she's like, I'm not feeling it. Then and you can look around the room, and if people aren't feeling it, like, why would you want to keep playing? That's another question. If people aren't feeling what you're doing, why would you want to, shove it down their throats? At that point, I'd be like, oh, I appreciate this feedback, and I don't want to. Yeah. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, it's a good question though. Shout out Salt Lake. Appreciate it. Let's go to the next one.
Hey Kiefer, my name is Ike and I'm calling from Boston. I had a question about expanding like my voicings and my harmonic vocabulary when comping in an ensemble setting. I'm really used to transcribing a lot of like lines and like soloing and transcribing a lot of solos. Okay. But like I'm not as familiar with transcribing comping or transcribing other pianists like rhythmic accompaniment to another person's solo. And I was wondering, would you recommend like transcribing from ear or like learning some transcriptions from online or just working out voicings by myself? Like, what do you think would be the best way to improve my comping as a pianist? Thank you.
Hell yeah. Thanks, Ike. Ike, the most Boston name ever. I think, shout out Boston. Great city. To be honest, I never really transcribed comping. I'm just going to lead off with that. Maybe a couple times. I transcribed some ballad comping, Herbie on a ballad. I transcribed like some Wynton Kelly comping at some point, but honestly, the thing I got from that the most is the rhythmic phrasing. One thing I'll say about comping, like if you for me, I transcribe like the pianists I'm really into with comping. Those are actually my two favorite compers are Wynton Kelly and Herbie. Wynton Kelly is an amazing comper. That's why he was in Miles Davis's band, because the strength of his comping was so incredible. And same thing with Herbie. Miles knows how to pick people who know how to comp, He picked Chick Corea after that, Keith Jarrett, anyways. Yeah. Honestly, I think the best thing to transcribe is the rhythmic phrasing, like the rhythm that people comp with. Because, dude, if you study people pre-1965, which is what I generally did, like people basically do what you would expect them to. Like rootless voicings, 3579, 7935, then if it's McCoy, it's like chordal voicings and like, me personally, I think it's way more valuable to develop your rhythmic phrasing, your rhythmic comping, and have a really simple vocabulary, and also to develop your melodicism as a comper. Just what your top voice is doing. If your top voice is great, like I think people overestimate, like they put too much emphasis on like playing a fancy voicing, because like, dude, if you've got 32 bars, and let's say it's like medium tempo, you're playing 32 bars, and you might have 60 chord stabs, like. Is every single one of them going to be interesting? And after 4 or 5 choruses and then, 6 or 7 tunes in a set, like if you're talking like 1,000 chord stabs over the course of an hour, not that comping is only chord stabs, but like how many interesting voicings that are unique are you really going to have? Is that where you develop your variety, or does the variety come from the phrasing? The phrasing of the vocabulary, the rhythmic phrasing, the melodic phrasing, the way you structure your ideas. I mean, really, are you going to have 1,000 unique voicings? I think people have this idea that like every voicing has to be unique and interesting. And I just don't know how feasible that is, B, how necessary that is, and C, how effective that is. Like I would just focus on like some simple stuff and just phrase like rhythmically really well, and your top voice, your melody should be nice. So like here, let me just comp over Stella by Starlight and see what happens. And I'm just gonna like, and I'll put this on, do a little medium tempo, and I'll just comp just listen to my top voice, and listen to my rhythm, and I'm gonna sing along too with what I comp. Let me go even slower. Like super medium. 1, 2, 2, 3. Yeah. You'll notice that the melody made sense. Like, let me just comp with just one hand. Check it out. Like some right hand stuff. Ready? Check it out. One, and I'll sing it. 2, 1, 2, 3. E, I gotta play less notes. I'm playing so much. See if I can play less. Check it out. Let's do an exercise where every time I start a phrase, we'll start it on the end of one, because I don't do that very often. So like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and I'll do something else. Let's do less. I'm doing too much. Let's do as little as possible. Check it out. See how sparse I'm being? Seeing like what's the least amount of chords I can play. And these are pretty lush. I'm gonna admit, you know, these voicings are nice. But dude, even when I'm not playing voicings that are that lush, like even if I'm just going like here, dude, let's just do it on 2 notes. Check it out. 2-note voicings. Check it out. Actually, let's do 3 notes. I'll give myself 3 notes. Check it out. 1, 2. Four notes, sorry. Like, again, even small voicings are nice, but I'm phrasing something melodic the whole way. And I think if you have that underneath, that sounds really great. Also, you don't have to play big voicings. I'm playing, like, again, small voicings. You can sound great. Yeah. That's what I think about. I just try to play really melodically underneath people. And then obviously I'm listening to what they're playing, and I'm trying to, like, provide accompaniment that is interesting for the listener and also interesting for the improviser, for the leader. You want to, like, give them some good stuff. Let's go to the next question.
My name is Abraham, and I'm from Michigan.
Abraham.
I wanted to ask you, if I was a beginning pianist, what is one of the fastest ways I can, like, improve when it comes to routine? And what should I be focusing on? I'm assuming technique, but thank you.
Yeah, technique, yes, and also repertoire. You got to play songs that you like. Get to 10 songs, 5 songs. Get to 5 songs, then get to 10 songs that you like. Work with your teacher on an arrangement that makes sense. If you're trying to get into jazz piano, you should learn some simple standards. If you're playing classical piano, you should probably learn a sonatina or 2. Actually, a combination would be nice. Maybe like a sonatina or a minuet or something like that. And then also like maybe some jazz tunes or things like that. And make sure you're developing arrangements with your teacher. Don't just jam on the piano, although you should jam, but don't only jam. You should also be playing clear arrangements for which there is only one correct way to do it, thus forcing you to be precise. So yeah, I would say learn some songs. Get to 10 songs, dude. And then also jam. Like, come up with, like, some stuff where you can really tear it up, dude. Learn, like, a blues scale or something. Learn, like, play Heart and Soul, whatever. Stuff where you can really jam out. Stuff that's simple. And have fun. If you're having fun, then you're going to do it forever. And if you're going to do it forever, then you're going to get really good, and then you're going to have more fun. And then you can get in that positive feedback loop. But if you're not improving, if you're not playing songs that you love, if you're not having fun, then it's kind of hard to get to the next level. So make sure you're having a good time playing songs that you like, and make sure you're doing the right things the right way with your teacher. That's what I would say. Take some lessons, dude. Take some lessons and take it seriously. Organize your time and, like, practice every day for 15 to 30 minutes when you start out. Next. Let's keep it going.
Yo, this is Nathan Harrison from Kansas City.
Nathan?
My question is around any potential inferiority complexes.
Ooh.
I feel like most of us deal with, even if we're a very confident person or if we're proud of the art that we've been making, I feel like most people will experience voices that tell you that you're small or that you're inferior, that you're less than the people around you or something like that. What your relationship is like with that self-conscious voice. Curious about that. Also, shout out to Luke Titus. I saw y'all play with Salami Rose in Chicago a couple months ago, and it was incredible.
Hell yeah.
Peace and love.
Hell yeah, Nathan. Good stuff. Nathan, great question. Inferiority complex. Yeah. I haven't had this problem in a while. I mean, I do have that problem, but it doesn't cause me as much pain as it used to, and it doesn't get in the way as much as it used to. For me, inferiority complex, or really it's like, what's the other one? It's the imposter syndrome is the one I have. But, like, for me, it's more like, it's not, because inferiority implies that an outside party, another person, is superior, and inferiority implies a comparison. And I don't have so much of a comparison problem as I have a general lack of satisfaction with things that I would like to be happy about. So, for example, if I have a big show, if I get some sort of accomplishment that 5 years ago, objectively, if I had received that, if I knew that I was going to get an accomplishment like that, I would be so amazed and stoked. And yet then when the accomplishment happens, you're like, oh, I don't have any gratitude right now. And like, I need to like think about this. Like that happens to me a lot, where I'll be taking a shower and I'll be thinking to myself, like, I need to have more gratitude for the good things that have happened. So it's not so much an inferiority complex as it is a like imposter syndrome. Like I feel like I don't deserve good things to happen, or the good things happen and I don't feel anything because I'm like, next thing. Like I just want to do it better. And I just want to be better, but at the expense of appreciating what's happening in front of me. Inferiority complex I used to have when I was younger, and that stopped when I was probably 23, 24, 25, around that age. How did I deal with it? How did I stop? I guess, I don't know. At some point I stopped giving a fuck, which is probably what I need to do now with my current challenge. The imposter syndrome, and also the next thing. Like at a certain point, I need to stop giving a fuck about trying to be successful and start giving a fuck about just enjoying the moment. And, but yeah, when I was 25, I had acquired, or rather cultivated, an incredible sense of de-gaffery, as my friend Jessica Louise, shout out Jessica, as she put it, when I was 25, when we became friends, and she told me, Kiefer, you have an amazing sense of de-gaffery. And at that age, that was true. At that age, with regards to this particular thing, I really had a very good sense of de-gaffery, don't give a fuckery, as it were. And I just stopped caring one day. Because I think for me, and everyone's different, but for me, the inferiority complex, which again it implies a sense of comparison to other people, I stopped trying to play like other piano players. I stopped trying to produce like other producers. And then it didn't matter if I was like them or not. So just, because that's a value system, right? If you don't feel good because you feel inferior compared to other people, then that means that you value how you stack up against other people, which means you value being like other people. And that is useful to a certain degree. I think it is useful to, appreciate and value the contributions of others, of course. But then thinking that you need to provide the same thing to society or to the community is not necessarily true. And so I think maybe you need to clarify how you're different, clarify how you're unique, and also clarify that even if you give something that seems really small, if it's unique, then it cannot be replaced. And it doesn't matter whether, the scale of which you contribute, because the scale that you're able to contribute is often not under your control. It is to a degree. Like, for example, if I want my music to hit millions of people, if I really want it to scale up and up and up and up and up, there's some of that, a lot, the majority of that is not going to be up to me. The majority of that control is given up to other people who are going to choose whether they like my music or not. So instead of worrying about scale and whether or not you are inferior or superior to others, think about like how you're unique. That said, I know this answer might not work for everybody, but I do think that's where my de-gaffery came from. I think at a certain point I was like, because I had that hand injury, I keep mentioning it, that was really a turning point. And I was like, you know what? If my hands hurt and I can't play piano like all these people, I really had no choice but to be like, well, I'm going to play my own way. And, that also came with its own issues, because it was kind of an ego trip to then start thinking of it like, they can't play like me. It's really funny to even say it with that tone. That's how I felt at that time. I was like, well, I can't play like them. well, fuck that. They can't play like me either. Or they choose not to, or they don't like the piano that I play, or for whatever reason, I'm unique. And that was good enough for me. So I think, look, there's only one you. No one's a better you than you. No one could ever be as good of a you as you. You're the only you in the universe. So we need you to do that. We need you to be you. Because if you don't, no one else will. That's something else I thought of. Oh, dude, here we go. You ready? Oh, my God. How have I not brought this up on this podcast yet? Wow, dude. We got to read the Martha Graham quote. Martha Graham, the inventor of modern dance, one of the great artists of the 20th century. I got to read the whole thing. Here we go. Ready? There is a life force that is translated through you into action. And because there is only one of you in all time, this expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium and be lost. The world will not have it. It is not your business to determine how good it is, nor how it compares with other expressions. It is your business to keep it yours, clearly and directly, and to keep the channel open. That's it, baby. I had that quote printed out on a piece of paper sitting on my wall for years. And once I really owned that, dude, and I realized, oh, my job is not to be the best pianist. That's impossible. My job is to be the best me. Be the most me. No one else can do that. No one could even try. No one has the ideas I have. Everyone has their own ideas. So if you listen to yourself and you know what those ideas are, it doesn't matter what these other people are doing out over here. They could not play this instrument. This one. Which you have in here. They can never play that. I can. Dude, I got so much stuff in here that y'all haven't heard. Maybe it's better that way. There's a lot of stuff in there that's probably not that great. But I do have unique stuff. So I think that's what happened when I was 23, 24, 25. I really dug hard into that idea and started acting it out every day. Started asking myself, how can I be myself in as big a way as possible every single day? I started dressing different. I started making routines. I started, going to events that I identified with and started hanging out with friends that made me feel good and made me feel more myself, and started walking and talking differently and just digging into what makes me unique, Anyway, shout out Martha Graham. God, it took such a long answer that I can't remember the name of the person. Forgot your name.
Yo, this is Nathan Harrison.
Nathan, that's right. Thanks a lot, Nathan. Really appreciate it. Let's go to the next one.
Kiefer, how you doing?
Yo.
Robbie Sco from New Jersey.
Robbie?
Now, it's August again, so we got to talk about these August again patches. I mean, what's going on? So this is like a cloudy tremolo thing?
Hell yeah.
August again? That's so cool. What the hell is that? And then halfway in,
August again patches.
Like in the back, it's like a Roji thing, but in the back, what's going on there? I don't know if you can hear this, but so cool. Yeah, I was wondering about your patches for August again, or kind of how you go through your sound palette.
For sure.
When you're like in the production-y world. All right, thanks, man. Cheers.
Hell yeah. Thanks so much. I didn't catch your name either. It happened really quickly. Let me run that back again really quick.
Kiefer, how you doing? Robbie Sco from
Robbie. I'm going to go with Robbie. I think that's what I heard. Excuse me, Robbie from Jersey. Okay, August again. Here are the patches that make that pad in the background. Number one, there's a piano chop. It's just like a granular, like maybe 1/10 of a second long, like little pieces of piano, like in between a few notes. So that's how you get that like glang 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 glang. You can hear it at the very end of the tune. It's the last thing to play, I think. So that's going pretty much the whole time. There's also, yes, the clav with the tremolo, or actually it's a vibrato. It's a really fast vibrato on the clav. That's the main sound at the very beginning. In fact, let me play this really quick so I make sure I'm not forgetting anything, because I'm trying to remember. There's one other thing. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the piano sample. That's it. Are there no like high strings or anything? Yeah. Yep, that's it. You can hear the piano sample at the very end. Right here. Yeah. Sometimes I'll put the sonic fingerprint at the end of a song, so in case you're curious, it's right there, and there you go. That's one of them. That piano, blang blang blang. But hell yeah. Yeah, dude, thanks, Robbie. Really appreciate it. Shout out to Jersey. Let's get one last voicemail in here and call it a day. Let's see.
Hey, Kiefer. My name's Granger. I'm
Granger
from New York. And my question is, so I just graduated from, I went to school for music education, actually. And
hell yeah.
There was a time in school, especially like earlier on, when I had like a process that I loved, and I was so in love with my process, and I was committed to it, practicing every day, and I loved it. And the past year, and like especially since I graduated, I feel like I kind of lost sight of the process, and I lost like kind of the vision and the love for the process that I once had. And so I was wondering if, because I know you talk a lot about, you know, your process and your practice and all of that, and I was wondering if you've, you know, gone through something similar where like you lost that vision or the idea of the process, you lost the love of the process, and how, if you have gone through that, how you managed to re-find that and kind of reignite that desire to work really hard for it.
Yeah.
Thanks. You're a big inspiration. Hope you get to this question.
Thank you. That's a fantastic question. God, I keep on getting so into the question that I forget the name by the time we get to the end. One more time. With the name?
Hey, Kiefer. My name's Granger.
Granger, that's right. Okay.
New York.
So, Granger, thank you. Great question. How do we, when we start to not enjoy our process anymore, how do we get back to a place where making music is fun and meaningful and feels good? Dude, we need to, when this happens all the time. It can happen in a small way. It can happen chronically over a long period of time. Sometimes you make music and you get frustrated and you just don't want to do it. And you're looking at the clock. You're like, man, I've only been making music for like 15 minutes. The song sucks. I don't want to do this. And I just want to, I feel frustrated and I want to stop. And then you stop. Wait a minute. What happened? You know what's missing from that experience? You got to ask why. It's okay to stop, but ask why. You got to know why. Don't just, when we face a problem and without examining it or asking, hey, what just happened there? Then we're doomed to repeat it, right? That's the, if you don't learn from history, it's going to repeat itself. That's like, driving down the road, and the car stops and you don't even look to see that it's because you ran out of gas. And then you just, I guess I'll give up. And then you just get the car towed or something. And then, you go out the next day, you're like, oh, this car doesn't work. And it's just like, man, you gotta, that's what we're doing though. Like sometimes we're just running out of gas while we're rehearsing or while we're practicing, and we don't realize like, oh, we just need to put gas in the tank. Like, now I'm not saying that your problem is that simple, but it could be. Dude, yeah, ask yourself, where's the frustration coming from? Because like for me, I haven't enjoyed working in my room for a long time. And I just don't like my studio anymore. There's so many things that go wrong with it. Number one, I don't like not being able to record live drums in there. I don't like, I wish I had cooler outboard gear. I wish I had a better sounding room so that I didn't have to record my piano with a dynamic mic every time, though I do like the sound of a dynamic mic. And I realized like, okay, well, long-term solution, I do need to like move into a studio. Like this room is just like at a place where also my bed's in there. So I just want to lay in bed, dude. That's not a good thing to have in a studio. It's like a bed. Like, you know, it's just, what are we doing? So I started working in other studios this year. Started working with my buddy, Eric. He goes by Shibo, who's here in Glassell Park. I got a lot of work done at Cartoon Studio earlier this year. So that's my short-term solution, and my long-term solution is to get a new studio. But again, I wouldn't have come up with those solutions if I wasn't honest with myself about why does this suck right now? And it's like, oh, it's because like this is where I eat breakfast, and there's like dishes in my like workspace, or it could be simple things like that. Sometimes you're making a song and you're hungover, and you're like, God, why do I feel like quitting? It's like, oh, because I drank last night. I should stop doing that. Or sometimes I'm just hungry. I'm at a session. I'm like, God, why do I want to leave the session so badly? It's like, because I didn't eat in 5 or 6 hours. Or the other day I was making music with Amber Navarin, and I just could not get anything done. And then I realized why. I was like, dude, I got to tell you, I cannot work at 3 p.m. I take a nap every day. Every day at 3 p.m. I crash and I take a nap. And she's like, oh, then let's meet at a different time next time. I was like, yeah, can we meet at like 8 p.m.? I'm a monster at 8 p.m. I can get anything done. She's like, let's do that. So, you know, when your tank runs out of gas, or when your car breaks down, or when something goes wrong, you got to figure out why. Because without knowing why, how could I tell you how to fix this problem? I have no idea what's making you feel bad. It could be a health thing. It could be a mental health thing. It could be just your workspace isn't right for you. It could be you're playing the wrong instrument. Sometimes people don't like their instrument. That happens. There's great musicians that wake up someday and they're like, I'm not going to play this instrument anymore. You know, that happens all the time. Who knows? Who knows what your problem is? But I would say to you, Granger, did remember your name. Yeah, you gotta, next time you get frustrated, be like, okay, what just happened there? What just rubbed me the wrong way? Was it that I drank a lot last night and now I'm just like hungover and I'm like bummed out? Or is it that, my like workspace is cluttered and this sucks? Does my shit sound bad because I should probably get some preamps or like get a better microphone? Or it could be a gear thing that can get you inspired. Heather used to tell me, in every new piece of gear is a song. Sometimes you can just get a new piece of gear that makes you excited, inspired. Maybe it's because you're making music you don't like. Dude, you think that isn't the case? That happens all the time, dude. I know so many people that make music that they just don't like. That happens so often I can't even tell you, especially for jazz school kids. They be playing like straight ahead and they don't even listen to Lee Morgan, or it's just like, what are we doing? So yeah, play music that you like. No, love, dude. Yeah, come up with a process that you love. And the way you do that is by eliminating the anxiety of the activity. And so next time you're starting to feel frustrated or like it's not working out, write down why. You know, like, dude, I do this all the time. Like earlier this year, I like was like, why am I not succeeding? And I just wrote down on a piece of paper why. Yeah. I was like, I have not committed myself to X, Y, and Z. I don't want to share it on the podcast necessarily because it might give away what my next album's going to be like. But yeah, I just wrote down, let me come up with something from a few years ago. I was like, why am I failing? And it's like, well, I don't have a routine, and I don't have a routine because I'm partying all the time. Then I wake up and I'm hungover. That was a really common thing. I was just partying too much. And then that would like mess up my routine. So I never had a routine, which means I'm not getting anything done. Dude, I got to read this thing my dad wrote. Hold up. Let me read this thing my dad wrote. Because this is a bar. This is a bar. I got to read this. Let me read it. Let me see. Do you say routine or do you say ritual? Ritual? What did Dad write? Damn it, I cannot find this. I can't find this to save my life up. Let me see. What did he write? God, it was so good. Oh, here we go. Here we go, dude. He wrote this. When I was younger, now I know this might not be totally the answer, but this is something for me. This is something that I realized I needed structure. He wrote this like a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh, I need to get back to my routine. This is what he wrote. When I was younger, I had all sorts of interests and talents. ADHD to the max. But everything changed once I learned to be disciplined and focus on doing the simple things really well, and then branch out to the more difficult. But the key was discipline and a consistent approach to everything every day. Then things become easy. A consistent approach to everything every day. Then doing things becomes easy. I don't know if that's your problem, but it was for me. So yeah, like whenever I'm on a routine, dude, creating is so effortless and fun because I'm not hungover. I don't have a headache. And by the way, this has never been diagnosed. I'm pretty sure I have chronic pain because my whole body just hurts all day long, every day of my life. Never looked into that for some reason. I just thought that was like normal. And then like very recently, I'm like, damn, dude, I've been in pain for the entire time. So yeah, for me, that's why having a routine is so important because if I have a headache or if my stomach hurts or if I didn't sleep enough and I feel cranky and I'm irritable and I'm anxious, it's like, oh yeah, dude, making music is going to be a nightmare. So, yeah, next time you're feeling frustrated with your process, don't just quit. It's okay to take the day off and quit for the day. Don't do it that often. But when it happens, you got to ask why. If you're not asking why that's happening, you're going to do it again. And would you look at that, dude? And with that, I just got called into the studio. And you know what? It is time for me to go. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode, another installment of the AM podcast. I hope that this is motivating for you or helpful in some way. These are, none of these are inventions of my own. All of these ideas are things that people have told me that have changed my life, and I enjoy sharing them with you here in this format. So thanks for tuning in. Tell your friends, leave a comment, leave a voicemail, and we'll talk soon. Be encouraged. Peace.